And with us today are three women who survived World War II in their respective countries. They were liberated when U.S. forces came in. They are present with us today, and these are their stories. First, Pierrette Baldwin. Pierrette was born in 1934 in the northeast corner of France in a small town called Homecourt, near Metz. My parents owned a small tavern. Without warning, the Nazis arrived, many of them. They took all the men away, including my father. One day we heard air raid sirens. The Allies began bombing. We took shelter in a bunker across the street. We did that many times. But one day we heard shooting. The Americans had arrived, and we were liberated. After the war, G.I. Joe came into our cabin. His name was Joe Baldwin. I married him. And we moved to Glens Falls. We opened a restaurant and began our family. That's the short version. Pierrette, would you please raise your hand?
My name is Pierrette Baldwin. I was born September 22nd, 1934, in a region of France called Alsace-Lorraine. I was born in the Lorraine side, not in the Alsace. Alsace used to belong to Germany and has been taken back and forth, but I am French. I was born on the French side. Homecourt was most known for his mines. So this is the coal mine where the people worked. Brought a lot of people from everywhere, Germany, Italy, Poland, to get jobs. Between the meat factory La Solpa and la mine d'Homecourt, everybody worked. My mother came from a family of 13. My mother worked at the Solpa in the meat factory. Her brothers all worked here. My aunt worked here. It was a big, big industrial little town. Between the mines and Solpa was the name of the factory. That's where they made their money. My mom started there when she was 17, 18. She came from, my grandmother had 13 kids. And the younger one had to go to work to bring the money home to my grandmother, and they worked very hard. My mom was a cireuse, we call it. That's where they closed the can. In those days, they didn't have all the machine. Everything was done by hand. It's like if you buy Spam, same idea. It's all in can. They would close all that by hand. And she worked there for a long time, all her youth. Okay, this used to be the meat factory called Solpa, where a lot of the people in the 20s, 30s, and so on worked here. They made the pâtés, the hot dogs, blood pudding, and so on, head cheese, and people would have jobs. Now everything's gone. Well, the cafe that belonged to my mom's sister, Aunt Madeleine. We had pensionnaire, which pensionnaire means, I don't know in English exactly, but they take a room and board, a room and board for the worker. They worked at the mine, they worked at the factory, and they stayed at our inn. But this I remember well. because my mother would go and help her sister to work the bar. And it was called Café Poli. Poli was her husband's last name. That's the one that we really, really buy all our meat products. And our bar is right on the corner here. Well, it was a bistro, as we call it, for the worker. They go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, the bar would open, the restaurant would open. We had no stool. They stand up with a cup of coffee and a shot of rum. That was every day before they went to work. So then for lunch, being like an N, I would serve the worker their lunch. My mother, let's say on Monday, would have a beef stew. Tuesday, it'd be a fish dish. Everybody get the same. So my job was to put, this one's having a quart of wine, this one had a beer. Everything was ready, because they had to go back to work. They had 12 o'clock till 1:30. They were allowed to come home, so the local would come after work, like around 6 o'clock. They would stop in my parents' bar. Hey, have a beer. They were all neighbors. It was like Cheers. Everybody knew everybody. Hey, George, hey, Jean, you know. And they had their wine, some had their beer. And then they would go home. But then at night, the inn with the rooms, the guys would come down and have the dinner. Déjà vu, all over again. But it'd be the dinner. And my mom would fix whatever, there was her menu. It was a heck of a busy life. You were never bored. And we still have the old building where I was born, on my street, right there in our building. My bedroom was right on top, second floor, and downstairs, that goes on the sidewalk, there was our kitchen. So they do serve. Let me just go and check it out. Bonjour, mon Dieu, si ça a changé. C'est vous le patron?
Oui, c'est mon père.
Votre père?
Oui.
Je vais vous dire. The meat, the milk, the bread. Tyler, the kid said he's going to talk to his dad. And then we can come back. He says, no problem, he's sure. But I understand he can't do it on his own, okay? When the war came, both men, my uncle Poli, my dad was taken prisoner. And just before that, my father had bought the Café Poli for my aunt and uncle. But they always worked together. Then the war came, and the two sisters raised the two daughters. Me and my cousin, we were both only child.
Oh, ma chérie, oh, mon petit cœur, mon petit cœur. Oh, c'est plus de te revoir. Oh, c'est plus de te revoir, ma chérie.
Faut être sûr. On va y arriver. Simone was my sister. She was not a cousin. But during the war, her mom and my mom kept us going. And you know what? You turn out to be so close. Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait? Ils ont rattaché ça ou ils ont...
Mais ils ont mis une vis. Ils ont mis une vis comme ça.
Les tours fermés. Alors, tu n'as vraiment rien d'artificiel, excepté, tu n'as pas comme moi avec mon genou. C'est une vis, mais ce n'est pas une prothèse, mais comme non. Toi, moi. Ok, alors tu vas te remettre.
J'en ai 5 des prothèses.
Hein?
J'en ai 5 des prothèses.
Oui, puis t'en es fier.
Il n'y en a pas.
Quel homme. Tu sais, la Simone, elle peut être emmerdante, hein? Hein, quoi? Elle m'a dit qu'elle a 5 prothèses. Elle est costaud, tu sais. Elle rigole. Get her laughing.
Elle rigole?
Oui.
Oh, quel événement.
Elle nous sort.
Elle rigole.
Oui, elle nous sort. T'as compris ce qu'elle a dit? Tu vas nous enterrer tous. Monique says she's gonna bury all of us. So she's the oldest. Come Monique and then come me. They call us the Three Musketeers.
Tu me dis, je ne paierai pas les fleurs. C'est trop cher.
Et t'entends, pas de fleurs quand tu meurs, c'est trop cher, qu'elle a dit.
Des chardons.
Ah là là. Avant que je parte, je reviens te voir, si tu veux ou tu veux pas. You like it or not, I'm coming back. Pense. Pense-y. Pense-y.
Ma chérie, ma chérie, ma chérie, ma chérie.
Eh oui, Simone. On a de la chance, tu sais, qu'on a passé une vie si longue. Nos parents étaient déjà partis à notre âge.
Oh, il y a longtemps.
OK? Alors, il faut regarder comme ça, dire. Au moins, on est encore là. On a eu des bonnes années.
Moi, j'ai encore.
Et on a encore.
Quelques années pour emmerder quelques-uns.
Oui, c'est bien. C'est bien. C'est bien, Simone. Et les gens, tu sais. When I left for the United States in 1954, things changed rapidly. The iron mine closed, coal mine closed, and everything is gone. I don't even recognize after 60 years leaving this town. Okay. All closed up. Everything is apartment. Bars are gone, restaurants are gone. It's very, very difficult to come back to something that you don't even recognize, really. Yeah. I went back to France in April and tried to have my grandson take pictures, little story on my parents' bar, where pretty much my life developed, where it was all my life from the time I was little till I was 19, pretty much. And I was not welcome well. I was told to get out. It's a lot much more to tell, but I just don't remember everything. And then it's here, like my bar, the people wouldn't even let us go in. And I said to the man, you must have a guilty conscience to not let me in. I was born here, this is my town. He said, no, I'll call the cops if you go in. So it's sad, it's very sad. I'm really upset. I'm very upset that they would do that to me. That's all I can say. I'm glad I went back. I'm glad I had a good time with Simone. We drank up about the champagne. The doctor gave her the okay to come out of the hospital where she had been hospitalized, but she went home. And said she used to call me Pepette for Pierrette. Pepette. I used to say, I don't call you anymore, you can't hear. So you call me, because I can hear you. So we kept in touch to the end, and God again made a point there to send me back in April. That was my last chance to hug Simone and say goodbye to her.